Hi, Tau Epsilon Phi. This is Jason Burler, the president of the TEP Foundation, coming to you to tell you about our new series called the TEP Founders Series. This new podcast, being hosted by the TEP Foundation, encapsulates the stories of either founders or refounding fathers of their chapter. This new series serves to continue the charitable purpose of our nonprofit by preserving and advancing Tau Epsilon Phi history. This new podcast was recorded in the summer of 2024 and is being hosted by our guest, Trustee, Brother Stanley, Silverman, Tau Omega 73. We hope you watch all the episodes to learn valuable insights into your chapter's founding or refounding. If you are or know of any founders or refounders, please send an email to president@thetepfoundation.org. We want to capture your chapter's history. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope you learn a lot.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Founders Podcast, the podcast where we interview founders and refounders of TEP chapters. I'm Stan Silverman, Tau Omega 402, University of Rhode Island, class of 79. And I'm here with Bob Barrow, Tau Omega 364, University of Rhode Island, class of 76. So without further ado, here we go. I first met Bob when I joined That Ram Band. Bob and the rest of the TEPs who were in the band invited the whole band over to the house for a party. Bob was both URI Ram Band president as well as the TEP president. After rushing the house for a couple of months, Bob invited me to move out of Browning and take his place in the penthouse as roommates with Dennis Rogers, which I happily did. Hello, Bob. It's nice to see you again. How the heck are you?
Too, Stan. Been a couple of years here.
Yeah, a couple. It's nice to see you. So how did you go from music major in Rhode Island to insurance in Atlanta?
Wow. I was a band director in Portland, Maine for 2 years. And then I moved south in 1978. The bands were bigger and better. And wife at the time, her parents moved down, so we just followed them and ended up at a school in one of the counties around here and had a great group of kids who were rather affluent. And I'd be driving my big old Dodge Coronet, and they have BMWs and stuff. I was making $16,000. Just had my first kid, and I realized that I could not write my own paycheck. So I ended up kind of working my way into a business career, starting in sales, where I can get paid for what I do. So it started there, and it just kept on going.
Okay. Is there a special kind of insurance that you sell? You do something with movies or something?
Yeah, well, it's all commercial insurance. So I don't do homeowners or any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, doing a little health insurance right now. But we focus on the film and television, temporary staffing, things like that. I learned niching is better than being a generalist.
Okay.
That's what I've done for a long time.
I want you to know I've seen Drumline about 17 times.
Beautiful show.
Why did you first join TEP?
Again, I was recruited in the Ram Band by Louis Herman, another trombone player.
Okay.
Probably in his squad when we had those squads of 4 people moving around on the field. He just invited me over to check it out. I was in Bressler Hall living with Carl Santilli. So first semester freshman year. So that would have been, the fall of 72. And we checked it out, and it just seemed really, really cool. You don't know people in Bressler or Browning or whatever hall you're in. You just don't meet them. But this was a group of guys that they seemed to get along. About 3 or 4 of them were in the band, and just kind of migrated over to that for the second semester freshman year.
Okay. How did the chapter fold? What happened with that?
Oh, well, we didn't have enough people in the house, so it was a budgetary issue.
Okay.
But on top of that, there were 2 factions in the house: the front of the house versus the back of the house. the back of the house, we called them the negs, like negative. And if you're watching this, you know who you are. But they did everything they could to subterfuge any positive things, leadership things. It was just like this the whole time. And that just had a big adverse effect on the living conditions there. On top of that, during the spring, that spring when I had moved in, our cook died. And a little Asian guy, Chinese guy, he was great, Mr. Lee. I forget his first name. But everything was on time, great food. He passed away suddenly. We all went up to his funeral in Quonset, Rhode Island.
Mhm.
Came back and just made it out the rest of the semester, and Carl Santilli became the chef. You know, he ended up going into culinary school after that. But it was a big combination. We had talks with them, and they just said, you don't have the income to support the house, so you might have to leave it for a while. And that's what happened. Very sad.
Did you try bringing in boarders or something? Or was that
They
not
didn't.
done at the time?
No. The guys who were the negs just kind of put an attitude on the house. Nobody wanted to cooperate and work positively toward a good end.
Mhm.
So it just didn't happen. You know, we had a couple of guys leaving, seniors, Patisi and guys like that, who did a good job, but they were fed up with the negative energy.
Okay.
So they graduated. Some of them graduated, and we just didn't have the money to run the house. That was the big thing. The cook
Okay.
didn't have it, but that was the big thing.
Had you already been brotherized before the house closed?
I forget that. I don't know. I've been through all the hazing, scavenger hunts. And they were great. I don't remember. I just don't remember. Possibly not.
So could you have joined another house after?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, so sophomore year, I lived down the line in a house with Santilli and Mark Roden, and then eventually Jay Swoboda, the saxophone player. And so that was good. It was at Harbor Island down near Galilee. It was great house. But driving back and forth every day was nuts. So the third year, I lived with on Fraternity Row as a boarder in ZBT. They had the upstairs. They had the upstairs of the house, and downstairs was a sorority. I forget their name. Made for some interesting times. It was pretty good times. But
So why didn't you didn't want to join ZBT?
No. I had started trying to get the amount of guys needed to get TEP back my sophomore year.
Okay.
I had started conversations with the people who oversee the Greek board with the university. I had talked with, I think it was Bob Patisi, somebody who graduated earlier in our chapter and became an attorney. I went up to Providence, talked to him for a while, asking for help. I was pretty new at this. But we just started recruiting that sophomore year, that fall, starting with the Ram Band.
Mm-hmm.
But it expanded way past that. So we visited every single male dormitory or mixed dormitory and all the common places, and bulletin boards, and get a piece of paper. You make up a nice ad with all the tear-off pieces of phone number on the bottom. No email back then, of course.
Of course.
And we would announce some kind of just gathering, informational seminar, whatever, to just discuss the possibilities of creating your own fraternity. You know, you don't have to be a Phi Mu, an animal house. And we didn't want that. We wanted a classy place. And that was kind of a big ground rule, because some of these other places you hear, some of the stories, and the girls, spend a night at another fraternity. They come out ravished, they're dead meat, and they don't appreciate that. So we wanted to be a classy group. So we worked that sophomore year, didn't work out. Tried Delta, tried D, got a lease on the house, so they moved in. I kind of knew some of them. I ended up being their number one enemy because we kicked them out.
Right.
So we didn't get it sophomore year, so we started right back up junior year, recruiting, more meetings, and some of the guys who we talked to, band members and such, they believed in it, and then they started reaching out to some of their friends, not musicians, but some sports people, crew or football or whatever, business people, and so that junior year, we ended up with enough people. I think the number was 34, 35, committed to take back the house and have the school break the lease of Tri-D. So we took back the house the fall of 75.
So the lease was with the school and not with TEP?
I don't remember that. I did go to a national council meeting in Atlanta the summer of 75. Sidney Sontag running the meeting. And I knew nothing. I was just a music major, just traveling to the South. No idea what was going on. No idea. But I did learn enough to help for the incoming class of that fall, kind of follow tradition and protocol of opening up a national fraternity chapter. So I don't know. It worked. It worked.
How much did National help you with this tremendous adventure you were going through?
They good advice. They might have seeded some money to help take over the house. I forget. I just totally forget.
Okay. Did I know Jack Fraden had something to do with it. Was there like a drop dead date that either you take the house back by a certain date or it's gone?
I don't remember, but we had enough all along. Well into my junior year, the 74-5 year, we had enough commitment. And maybe, if anything, a couple of guys dropped off at the end, and maybe a couple of new ones came in. But we had enough to take it back. We took the plants out of the urinals.
Yes, I heard stories about that. You guys moved in September. Did you have like work parties and stuff to get the house ready? Or were you able to do it as school was starting?
As school was starting, it wasn't terrible. You had to get the kitchen back in order. I don't think we did much other than, maybe a little bit of painting and repairing a couple of broken walls. But other than that, the girls left it in a pretty good shape.
Okay. I mean, that was a very selfless thing that you were doing, because by the time it was started, it was fresh. It was fall of your senior year. So you almost didn't get to enjoy the fruits of your labors.
Oh, well, well, for 2 or 3 reasons. It was late in my college career. Probably the number one reason was I was married to music. I lived at the Fine Arts Center. I was taking 18 to 20 hours. And that's all that mattered to me back then. And I did have a girlfriend who I met from marching band and ended up spending a considerable amount of time in Tucker Hall.
Right. So I'm saying that you did all this work and now you weren't there to.
I know. And I do have a regret about spending as much time as I did in Tucker Hall. I do have, and I've had those regrets for a long time. And I could have had a lot more social opportunities. I just didn't do it because of music. I was married to music. I had opportunities and I blew them off. But to see the work of I believed in the concept from my first semester freshman year, or actually second semester, and the work that the investment of time put in between sophomore junior year, it was just extremely exhilarating to see it reopen, and try to give some guidance. But I wanted some self-governance. I really, really wanted that, where guys could take care of their own as long as they were gentlemen. We had a pretty strict rule about that. And, I knew half of the guys pretty well from band, but I wanted self-governance. So I wanted people to accept their own responsibility and do what they had to do. That's what we kind of had to do when the cook died. We had to pick up those pieces and do it ourselves. So I had done the work before the senior year, and it was just really good to see it open up, and I feel like something was created. And it wasn't just me, it was everybody in that first class. Carl helped a lot with stuff, and a few other people too. We hit those bulletin boards pretty hard. But everybody else was talking to new people, including, guys like you,
Yeah, well, I was in Chris Harper's tuba squad.
Chris Harper was a great guy. Great guy.
Yes, he really is. He is. So did the house turn out the way you had envisioned it to turn out?
It did while I was there.
Okay.
Once you move, and I moved out of state to Maine, then in 1980 down to Georgia, you do lose track, and it's a generational thing. You only know 4 years of people. I know the 3 years before me, and I like some of those guys a lot. That was a crazy group there before me that I lived with for one semester. Crazy group. They did some weird things. and then as a senior, the juniors, sophomores, freshmen. So like the guys who came in after you, I don't even know who they are.
No, you wouldn't.
No, like a Brian Resnovic. Just don't know them.
Right.
And I talked to my brother, who's 2 years behind me in the house, so I heard a little bit. But after you move away, you lose touch. As you know, you lose touch with most of your college friends. And then out of the blue, about 7 or 8 years ago, Justin Horowitz called me. He was the president. He was the president. I don't know what year, but he called me, and he was looking for a job in the film and television business, which I think he is now. But he was also the president of the chapter when they had the drinking parties, and the school closed it down. So I might have had a few words for him. You put in so much to bring back something that died. You revive it, you get it going, enthusiasm, some ambition and that stuff. And then a bunch of guys just want to go drink. Come on. And get kicked out. That's upsetting to me.
Of course it is. You did all that hard work, and it was
it lasted for another 20, 30 years maybe.
I think 16.
That's all. So now I have a picture.
No, 2016.
Yeah. Okay, so
yeah, that's 35, 40 years.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
No.
But I do have a picture of the house being demolished.
Oh shit! You have it with you?
I'll find it. I'll send it to you.
So upset. It's what's that? Joni Mitchell? They tore down Paradise and put up a parking lot. Every time I see it, I have to. I get emotional. Anyway, the chapter has rechartered, and
I love that. That's good news.
No. So, do you have any advice for them?
Don't get caught drinking. No, you have to build up the concept of community and brotherhood. Those are important things. We backed each other. Our GPA was very good. and that was, we were concerned with our overall GPA. We were not an animal house. We had a couple of guys that were, but the majority were not. We had good parties. We treated ladies very well. We had a house half full of musicians, so we would have some midnight concerts on the front lawn every now and then, much to the chagrin of the university president who lived diagonally across from us. We didn't care. We loved it. Some great snowball fights.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I
And,
broke a window my freshman year.
Oh.
You know what? It's funny that I broke a window in the front of the house my freshman year. Somebody else broke a window in the back of the house that same year. Another window was not broken in the house until my senior year.
That's a good record.
You see what happens? 3 years and they forget. You don't throw a snowball at somebody standing in front of a window.
Yeah, right. I know. And we did love playing some pranks on each other.
Yes, we did. Yes. Do you have any involvement with TEP in Georgia?
No, I've been to that house at the University of Georgia, and that is a messy, rundown house. It appears to me that the guys don't care about their chapter. Now that was a few years back, so it might be different now, but I was disheartened when I saw that.
It's a shame.
We tried to maintain, 22 Campus Avenue. We tried to maintain it as much as we could.
That was something that Carl Santilli would come out of his room with that axe handle. And he would say, "This is my house, and you don't do those things in my house."
That's a carryover from our freshman year. That's a direct carryover with Carl and being Italian.
So he went to, off subject, he went to culinary school after he graduated or left URI?
He did. Well, I lived with him my sophomore year down the line, and we had about once a month we had a dinner party and invite a couple of girls over, or even James Mabry, the band director. And we all, I was working in a restaurant. He was good, and Jay Swoboda was the lobsterman, so that was lobster night. So, but Carl was excellent, and he just followed his calling. My calling should have been business, not music. It took me 4 years to realize that. But he ended up, I don't know what school he went to for that, but he ended up as the chef at the Parker House in Boston.
Okay. Wow.
He married a girl from band. She's an attorney. So they're married. They're still married. They have kids, or had kids, gone. And salute to him.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yep, it's cool. So is there anything else you want to tell the chapter while you have a
I don't know how many, I don't know who the members are now of this new Tau Omega Association. I don't know. Do you have anybody who attended the school before me?
No.
Graduated. I'm looking at 73, 4, 5. I've got the names in the old directory right here. There were some good guys, and the guys who graduated just before they were crazy. They did some. They were more on the Animal House side.
Okay.
I don't know how a house without a fraternity without a house. I don't know how that can exist.
It's very different than it was then.
It is so different. I mean, what's the purpose is harder to find, I would think. Whereas you have the community where, well, you guys are watching Three Stooges or whatever, every day at dinner time, every day, or because we're half music people, we did well in the fraternity competition singing. We did like 3-part harmony.
Mm-hmm.
We came in second place, but that's okay. I think it would be, if you're going to get so busy with school like I was, I think it would be difficult to devote 1 hour a week, never mind, maybe 4 or 5, to a group of guys a club. It's a club. You don't have any living experience together. I hope they pull this out and maybe find a piece of property.
Well, unfortunately, first of all, it's really, really expensive.
Yes, it is.
Second of all, as you mentioned, the ladies being ravaged in some of these fraternities, believe it or not, even a greater danger than underage and excessive drinking is the treatment of females and the sexual
Totally.
stuff that goes on in you're in the insurance business, so I'm sure you know about this.
We had very few, the drug of choice then was marijuana, and it wasn't a strong marijuana in the early mid-70s. It's all different now, just a little bit of powder in a drink, so
Yes.
I have to agree. I have to agree with that.
So the house is really, the school is really, really cracking down on the drinking and the sexual stuff. And so I think that
they have to.
They do. So if you're on campus, they really have you under the thumb. And so they can be more on their own if they're down the line. And so they have parties down the line. They have pledges, do the designated driver thing back and forth to the campus. They have meetings at the Memorial Union once a week. And this way they can be more on the down low.
That's great. That's good to hear.
So that's what they do. I mean, I was very happy to hear. It never occurred to me to use the pledges as designated drivers, but it's really a cool concept when you think about it.
They're 17, 18. Come on now.
Yeah. So that's so they're doing fine without their house. Their membership is up. They're doing all kinds of activities. The school is trying to point them into charity work and community service, and they're doing a lot of that willingly. So we've had a few events with them. The basketball game. We met a couple of guys at the meeting last week, and they seem to be a really good group of guys.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, so it's really good. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
This was great. It's kind of tough being in Atlanta. I'd like to, contribute more up there personally. I mean, physically, because that's what I was used to. But it's just worth it. The whole thing is worth it, especially if you have a good group with a good cause and good behavior. It doesn't always have to be good behavior, but respectful. That's the best word, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And you come away with, great memories and friends for life sometimes.
I was just going to say that among my best friends to this day are people I was in TEP with, that we still stay in contact with each other.
That's great.
I called your brother the other day to see how he's doing. I had a long drive to Rochester. I said, I'll call John. It gives me a chance to reconnect with some of these guys, because I really, really miss my days at TEP. I really miss those days at college.
Yeah.
And most of the days at college involved something that happened at the house.
Well, you were in the house for 3 years and a semester and a half.
4 years. And then I worked at Yahoo during the summer, and my days off I spent at TEP.
Well, Yahoo was great, by the way. I did Yahoo too. I did run we did lease it out during the summer, and I ran the house, I think 2 summers. leasing it out. The girls
Mhm.
didn't have it then. So we had boarders then, which it's only 8 weeks. Wasn't a big deal.
Yeah, but you can raise some money that way. And
We did, and that helped. That did help.
so I want to thank you, Bob, for starting the house back and for working on bringing the Ram Band members into the house. It was among the best 4 years of my life.
Great.
I went from pledge to treasurer to bursar to chancellor, and it was a wonderful experience for me. I learned so much being in the house,
Yeah.
and I really appreciate you rushing me into the house. It was
We learned a lot. We all learned a lot from it.
Yeah, we did.
Leadership skills, everything. Little business in there, everything.
I was going to ask you what your greatest accomplishment is, but it's pretty obvious that it was bringing the house back together.
It was a fun thing to do. I didn't do it by myself. Carl really helped because we were the only two that came back. Everybody else scattered, but we were the only two freshmen.
Right. The other guys were gone.
Freshmen, and then already the seniors left. A couple good ones, juniors and the sophomores had no interest. Plus, we weren't assembled yet. So by the time we got back, we're seniors. There was nobody else other than Carl and myself.
What was Jimmy Conlin's role?
He would visit with us once in a while. He was a very cool guy. I think he helped. I think, I want to say we did have our initiation thing right after we took the house back, and I think he had something to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
A long time ago, a little fuzzy up here.
All right, Bob. Thank you very much for
you.
spending some time with me.
Thank
It's been
you,
a
Stan.
pleasure.
We'll talk again.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Good night.
Bye-bye.